the cash flow is just going to be even better. As much as some people are saying it's not the right time to buy, I disagree. Test me all you want.
Here we are once again, where we're bringing you the journey of the people who have gone through transformation to inspire you on your journey. Now, we've got a really special episode, and I'll tell you why. This young lady here, she likes to speak the truth. We were just having a brief chat before we started this, and yeah, it's not always squeaky clean, is it, Louise?
No, it isn't. But then that's where the transformations come from. So I wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest.
Exactly. There you go. So let's just get straight into it. First of all, I mean, thank you for coming on here. I'm looking forward to this, and I know this is going to inspire many people. So tell us, what was it like before? I think you left school. What job do you go into, and what was it that said one day you were like, well, maybe property investing? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. So in summary, I didn't get the A-level results I wanted. I was aiming pretty high. So I didn't get into Bath to do economics. And at the time I didn't have a plan B. So naturally I just went into sort of retail work, hospitality work, with the intention of potentially going back to studying. But then once you're into work, it's easy to just fall into that trap. You're earning a little bit of money that you didn't earn before, and you just get comfortable. But alongside working those sort of long hours in the low paid industries, I started to go to loads of seminars in London to see what else was out there.
So you're in this job, you're earning like a bit of money, but you say it's like, kind of low amounts. What age was that?
I'm 19.
I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I was messing around when I was 19. So, like, how does a 19-year-old, like, come across, like, what happened? How do you come across seminars? What made you say, yeah, let me go to this?
I can't really remember the first one. I went to so many in the end. I think it just popped up on like Facebook, the Facebook ads about these events. I'm like, oh, it's a free ticket, just go. So I went to quite a lot of the free ones, and I take a bit of inspiration from each one. But the one thing I noticed was property was sort of the dominant topic. So I was like, do you know what? Out of all the different industries, property seems like the best bet. And then I was like, well, what's the easiest route in? And I thought, well, management. And that's when I came across the idea of a rent-to-rent company. So I was like, this is brilliant. Low cost in, no experience needed. And I can go out, pay, and get trained in that. So that's sort of what I'd done. Set up the company, but then it was just dormant. I wasn't doing anything with it, and I continued working. It was only sort of at the start of lockdown. I was on furlough. I was like, I've got all my time back. I've got this company set up, ready to go. I'm not doing anything with it. Now's the opportunity. So that was like April 2020 is when I actually took it out of dormancy and was like, right, we're going to make this work, because I've spent time and money getting trained, set up the company, and now I've got my time back because I was on furlough. I've literally no excuse not to make this work.
What a great mindset, though. What a great mindset. I just want to touch on what you said there. It's like you went to all these seminars, and even though you started picking up little bits of this and that, you still kind of clung on to the job, right? And it was only when that was taken away from you, you decided to do something different. Let me ask you this. If you had your time again, would you do it sooner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like looking back at easy answer, but like, what would you say to the people now who might be holding on to something that's not serving them, that could start, building a side hustle or business, investing in property or something?
Yeah, I'd say just make that commitment. I mean, it depends on your personal situation. I wouldn't just say, yeah, just chuck the J job away and go for it. But what you could even do is like maybe reduce your hours and then utilize those additional hours to work on your side hustle, leverage, if you setting up a partnership with someone else, leverage their time. Just do something to get you committed.
What was the shift? What was the mindset shift, or what was it that kind of okay, you're saying furlough and you had the time, but really, what was the thing that was like, man, I'm going to do this?
So I went through many jobs, waitress, a retail, a barista, and I was a barista, and it was in a coffee place sort of located amongst some offices. So it's always familiar customers. And there was this one customer, he'd always come in, and I made a joke once, like, do you do any work? Because you're always in here. AKA like just in here chatting, getting coffee in a jokey way, because that's how I deal with my customers. And then he just turned around and was like, oh, it's okay for you. You just make sandwiches. And I think it was, well, I know it was a joke and just like a throwaway comment, but I did take it to heart because I was like, damn, this is how people are perceiving me. This is my perceived value. So then quit that job and I went into a part-time role with the intention of using the rest of my time to start working on making the property business work. I need to make this work. By then I'd invested a lot of time and a lot of money on training, and it's just like it'd be daft not to apply myself and actually get the results.
Okay, good. So, and what was it that like really helped you?
So for me, at the start, really helped having Lewis as my coach. So yeah, the real life results coach, Lewis, because I'd gone to trainings, I'd been given a lot of information. It's one thing receiving it, and then when you're on your own, it's very hard to apply it. And if you come against any challenges, who am I then going to go feed this back to? It's quite easily to get stopped in your tracks. And I think before that would happen often, whereas having a coach there, I'd go out every week, take some action, get some feedback on that action, and then present it to Lewis like, hey, like this is a situation, how would you play it? And then just sort of debrief it a lot of the time. And that's what kept me going, mainly the coaching. And also that's what made me hustle, because everything has a cost to it. So all the coaching and training was costing me. So I was committed then to go out and make it work, because I needed profit to then keep up with that coaching, because once I started, I didn't want it to end.
Louise, you just removed all of the excuses, from people. So this is amazing. So you did this, you had the desire, you wanted to go out there and do it, you started doing it. So tell me, like, what happened in the next part of the journey? What property deals did you start picking up? How did that all work?
We got up to about 13 rent-to-rents at our largest size. So in total, that's about 65 units, a unit being a room. Each rent-to-rent itself provided for us cash flow profit between 500 up to about 1100 a month. So that was in sort of there.
That's brilliant. Yeah, so like we were talking before, and and that's what this brand's all about. Yeah, just being real. What do we tell other people for this transformation? What the money is and all the rest of it. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, money's good, but like, let's talk the truth. So the rent-to-rent business, you started building it, but like, things are changing in the marketplace as we learn, things like PWT and things like it's going to happen. So how do you deal with it? So yeah, what are some of the things that probably would scare people, but obviously you're now dealing with?
Yeah, so fundamentally, rent-to-rent, how it works, we agree to rent a property off a landlord, put a company-let agreement or a commercial lease agreement in place. That gives us the right to then rent out the rooms. And then the rent we get from our tenants minus the bills and the rent we pay to our landlord is the profit. When we first got started, that was nice amount per property. Now in today's market, we're sort of getting pushed from both ends, to be honest, because the costs, the bills that we pay, utilities, so gas, electric, water, it's all gone up. So our costs have gone up, but at the same time, our rent payments to the landlords have also gone up, because if they haven't been in fixed mortgages, their interest payments on the mortgages have gone up. So they've approached us outside of the fixed period, like, hey, we're happy to renew, but we'd need this amount from you now. So they're wanting more, the bills are costing more. And yes, over time, we have reviewed our rent upwards on the properties, but generally not at the same rate at the way the costs and the landlord payments have gone up. So our margins, to be honest, aren't what they used to be. But luckily, we didn't take on any deals that were too tight. Because if we took them on that they were too tight, quite frankly, we could have units that are costing us now. What we are doing is we're going out, we're negotiating deals so we can sort of buy properties, extend them under permitted development into our own HMOs. So we've got 2 going through at the minute, and one's a 2-bed, one's a 3-bed, and they're both getting extended out to sort of 6-bed HMOs with some with studio rooms, some with en suites, really high end. The reason being, one, we're so used to paying landlords, we want to be the landlord basically. We want to benefit from majority of the cash flow it produces. And I'm actually glad that we're coming into the market in the condition it is now, because interest rates are so high, costs are so high for everything. If the deal stacks now, in 3, 4, 5 years, the cash flow is just going to be even better. So as much as some people are saying it's not the right time to buy, I'd say I disagree. Test me all you want. I'd rather, learn, what do they say? It's better to learn to swim in choppy waters than, get caught out later on. So I'm actually generally happy the market is where it's at. Excited to sort of, get into the purchasing side of things.
Which you already are, right? So just tell us a little bit about that and how you're making this happen.
The first deal, which we fully funded, so we raised 95,000 for that. Our investors getting sort of a great return on their money, so it's a win-win all around. That one's going to be 4 studios and 2 en suites. And once all the work's done, the final value, 75% of that, when you remortgage, should cover all of our purchase costs, refurb costs, interest payments. So in theory, at refinance, we get all the money back out, so we can pay back our investor with interest. Or they might turn around and say, do you know what, Louise, I don't want the money back, I'd rather interest, so go again. So that's what we're hoping for. That's deal 1. Deal 2 is a very interesting deal, because put an offer in, the vendor didn't go with us, but I followed up, kept following up a few times afterwards. And then when I was on holiday, actually on a boat, got a missed call, and I recognized the number, and I thought, oh, this is an agent. And lo and behold, they said, Louise, the other buyer pulled out. I know you were interested in it. Do you want to buy it? So I was like, absolutely. So that's deal 2. And that's where we're at the minute. We're aiming for 5 purchases this year. So we're going to sort of pick up the speed a little bit on it. But yeah, things are going well. Quite excited to just get into purchases and have those assets.
Very good. This is amazing. Like, anybody listening to this got to realize, like, doesn't matter how old, how young, what's going on in your life, whether you have the resources, don't have the resources, everything is possible. And I think that's what people are going to get from this, Louise. So what an amazing, and by the way, you won an award actually for, what year was that? 21?
Well, it wasn't this year just gone.
Yeah, so 21.
It would have been, Christmas 2021.
21 for biggest transformation, and that was then, and the transformation is continuing. So absolutely super, firing out the blocks. I remember seeing your journey, saying you hit a 5-year goal in 1 year, and you're starting to buy all these things that you wanted to buy, your little mini, and your work van, and what was the other thing? You started moving into the place, your own place, and all of that. So what an inspiration. I mean, anybody who wants to, subscribe to this channel, see this, comment below, ask questions. I'm sure Louise will answer the questions. Maybe we do another video and we continue this journey over many years to come, because I think this young lady is going to inspire lots of people directly and indirectly. So I think a lot of it is also coming down to this ethos and this culture that we have in our community. Before I ask you that, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here. Subscribe to this channel so you see these episodes of Transformational Tuesday. You get more positive data in here to help you go out there and overcome all the challenges like Louise has, and many more has done as well. And I think it comes down to, Louise, you've got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
That is the only way to discover your true potential.
Yes, very good.